Have you ever found yourself wondering about ancient wisdom, the kind believed lost to time, and the extraordinary lengths some people go to not just rediscover it, but bring it back? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into just such a story, a really compelling one. It's about the incredible journey of Luang Pu and the rediscovery of this profound spiritual teaching, Vicha Dhammakaya or Dhammakaya knowledge. Our mission, really, is to peel back the layers of history, maybe uncover some surprising facts, and understand the sheer resilience it took, to revive and spread something so significant. We've got some fascinating sources, historical accounts, personal stories, deep insights into cause and effect. It's a powerful narrative about why some knowledge really endures. So let's set the scene a bit. Imagine this spiritual knowledge, believed by many to be like a core teaching of the Buddha himself, that just vanished, disappeared from the world for centuries. It's almost like a key chapter was just torn out.
It's a striking thought, isn't it? And what's really profound here is that Vicha Dhammakaya was, well, genuinely lost for about 500 years after the Buddha's passing. It wasn't just fading away. It was a complete disappearance from general understanding. It was only through the intense life-risking meditation, and I mean life-risking, and the unwavering dedication of Luang Pu that this wisdom was painstakingly rediscovered. He quite literally put his whole being on the line to bring it back.
Life-risking meditation. Those words really show the depth of his commitment, don't they? And the capabilities people talk about with this knowledge are honestly pretty astounding. We're talking about recalling past lives, discerning thoughts even.
Yeah.
Well, even seemingly miraculous things, like influencing weather or deflecting bombs in World War II, healing diseases. How do you even begin to explain that kind of power?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of the challenge, introducing such a profound truth. These inherent powers made the knowledge almost unbelievable without direct personal experience. So natural
Skepticism?
Oh, absolutely. Immediate skepticism and strong opposition from many who couldn't grasp it or maybe weren't ready to practice it. They called it utari, which means like boasting about supernatural powers. Some even harshly mocked it as asurakaya or demon body, sort of suggesting that studying it would turn you into a demon.
Wow. Demon body. That's intense opposition.
Yeah, the very idea of such powers was just too confronting for their worldview.
That kind of fierce criticism must have felt incredibly isolating. How did Luang Pu actually respond to all that, the accusations?
His response, based on our sources, was remarkably calm and wise. He just said something like, people like us aren't without wisdom. We know good from bad. Why would we destroy ourselves for, ignoble desires? He also patiently pointed out that the term Dhammakaya itself, it's right there in the Buddhist scriptures, the Tipitaka.
So he was saying the problem wasn't the teaching, but their lack of understanding.
Exactly. He understood the real issue was the detractors' lack of understanding, not whether the teaching was valid. He truly seemed to believe that even if it was covered up for a bit, the truth, the gem of Buddhism, would eventually shine through for those who could see. He trusted it would stand on its own.
That's a powerful faith in the Dhamma itself, isn't it? Like if you live the truth, it'll eventually prove itself. But the challenges didn't stop with just words, right? I understand Luang Pu personally went through some extraordinary trials, things that really show how fierce the resistance was. Can you share some of those?
Absolutely. The path wasn't easy. Reviving such deep knowledge was fraught with actual physical danger. One of the most shocking events we read about was a direct assassination attempt.
Really?
Yeah. A man named Nirod ambushed Luang Pu as he was leaving a hall, fired a gun straight at him. Miraculously, the bullet only went through his robe. Luang Pu himself was completely unharmed.
Unharmed from a gunshot. That's incredible. Was there a deeper meaning tied to that, like karmically?
This is where the idea of karmic connections gets really interesting and deep. In a past life, Luang Pu had been a prince, and during this archery duel with his half-brother, a rival, he intentionally only grazed his brother's skin, didn't kill him, but caused injury and, intense lasting resentment.
Okay.
Now, Nirod, the assassin in this life, he was part of a group of rebels who tried to overthrow that prince after he became king. Right. They were exiled, and they carried that grudge across lifetimes.
Wow.
So this attack, lifetimes later, was seen as the karmic result, the ripening of that past action from the archery duel.
The complexity of that.
Yeah.
Spanning lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. It really makes you think about the weight of every action, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what about the attendant who was with him? He was shot in the face, I read, a terrible injury. Was that also karmically linked?
Yes, according to the accounts, his injury also had a karmic link. In that same past life, that attendant had been a soldier, and he was known for hunting, for taking lives. So his severe injury in this life was understood as a direct consequence of those past actions.
It shows how karma isn't just isolated. It connects people through their past deeds.
Exactly. It unfolds for everyone involved.
But even after this attempt on his life, Luang Pu's compassion is what stands out. He showed no anger towards Nirod, even asked the court to forgive him.
Right. He wasn't interested in revenge at all, but, the law still had to take its course. Nirod was jailed. But the story has another layer. Luang Pu, using his advanced insight, his yan, apparently casually predicted that Nirod wouldn't survive his release from prison.
Right.
And true to that prediction, as soon as Nirod left prison, old enemies were waiting and killed him immediately. The karmic consequence played out.
It's a powerful example of how karma seems to have this inevitability, even when compassion is shown. And beyond bullets, there were poison attempts, too, repeatedly.
Yes, attempts to poison his food. It was a constant threat, apparently.
Imagine living with that daily vigilance.
He always knew, though. Through his deep insight, he'd either use a silver spoon, which would turn black instantly if the food was poisoned, or he'd just tell his attendants, discard that whole meal. And these poisoners. The sources suggest they were the same group. Those rebels from his past life, still holding that deep hatred.
That grudge carried across lifetimes. It's almost unbelievable. There's a dramatic story about an attendant, right, who felt bad about wasting food.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
He thought the food looked perfectly fine, felt it was wasteful to throw it out, so he put a portion aside, didn't listen immediately. Later, some stray dogs and cats got into that discarded portion.
Oh, no.
They died instantly. It was a stark confirmation of the poison, and it really underscored Luang Pu's incredible perception and, well, the vital importance of following his instructions.
A tragic lesson, but potent. It's fascinating, though, how ironically all these terrible events, these challenges, they actually seem to deepen the public's awareness and awe of Luang Pu.
Exactly. Instead of diminishing his reputation, the trials seemed to amplify it, like a paradoxical kind of endorsement.
So what's really remarkable, then, is why? Why did this knowledge facing such intense opposition, such personal danger, not just survive, but actually thrive?
That's the core question, isn't it?
And Luang Pu himself was always careful, I read, to say that he wasn't the sacred thing. It was the Dhammakaya itself that held the real sacredness, the power. He kept deflecting the praise. Why was that humility so important?
That humility is absolutely crucial. It underlines that the power isn't tied to one person, but resides in the truth itself, the truth they embody and, importantly, help awaken in others. And look at the result. The teaching has been continuously practiced, taught, passed down now for over 88 years. And it's spreading globally.
Right.
That enduring presence against all those odds, it's pretty compelling evidence of its authenticity, its benefit. Any false teaching just wouldn't last that long under that kind of pressure.
So it endures because it's real, because it connects with something inside people.
Precisely. It endures because the reality of Dhammakaya exists within every single human being, just waiting to be rediscovered. When people with sincerity, with great merit, practice, according to Luang Pu's teachings, they attain this inner wisdom themselves, and that leads to its continuous, authentic propagation. It's not just about one person anymore.
That makes sense. The knowledge can only spread if there's a dedicated community actually living it, practicing it. Which brings us to another key figure, someone whose dedication was foundational. Let's talk about Mae Tuam. Her service seems vital to this whole story.
Mae Tuam was, yes, truly extraordinary, a pillar of support. She was born in China, traveled to Thailand, and became a nun at 20, which was actually against her parents' wishes at the time. And she engaged in some really intense ascetic practices like Nisaji Kanga.
What's that involved?
It involved not sleeping for 3 months straight,
What?
maintaining only sitting, standing, and walking meditation postures. The level of discipline is just astonishing.
3 months without sleeping. That level of resolve is hard to even imagine, especially going against family wishes initially. And she also showed incredible filial piety, didn't she, temporarily leaving the nunhood?
She did. She disrobed for a time to care for her mother after her father had actually become a monk himself. Then she later reordained as a nun at Wat Pak Nam.
So she balanced that deep Dhamma commitment with family duty. What did her dedication mean for the Dhammakaya community taking shape?
It was indispensable. Luang Pu himself saw her exceptional qualities. He appointed her to manage the entire kitchen at Wat Pak Nam. Think about it, preparing meals for around 500 monks and 300 nuns. That's 800 people every single day.
Wow.
And he also entrusted her with caring for the other nuns. Her tireless, consistent daily service wasn't just about feeding people. It created the stable environment needed for the Dhammakaya knowledge to be practiced and taught effectively.
And during World War II, with the food shortages, I heard she worked some kind of culinary magic.
She really did. It sounds legendary. Mae Tuam basically managed by cultivating papaya, and for several years, she created every single meal from papaya.
Everything.
Everything. That time became famously known among the monks as the papaya pickle generation. Apparently, many jokingly swore off papaya for life afterwards. It just shows her incredible resourcefulness under huge pressure.
That tireless work day in, day out, preparing meals. That must have generated enormous merit, right? What do the sources say?
Oh, profound merit. Her work was a continuous act of dana, charity, and Vicha Dhammakaya, which is the merit you get from active service, from helping out. This constant hands-on contribution, which fulfilled her own past aspirations too, apparently yielded significantly more merit than just occasional food donations.
Because it was so consistent and essential.
Exactly. That deep, continuous contribution was vital for the community's survival, the community that preserved Dhammakaya. And it also contributed hugely to her own longevity and spiritual progress. It shows how that kind of commitment directly supports a spiritual path.
And she lived a very long and active life.
Yes. Passed away at 97, still dedicated to the temple. There's also a rather charming and funny story about her in the sources.
Oh.
In her later years, Mae Tuam apparently had quite a loud voice. And one time, she loudly shared this supposed secret about Luang Pu attaining nibbana with a human body, right after telling everyone else to keep it confidential.
Huh. That gives you a real sense of her personality. Vibrant and deeply connected, maybe a little unfiltered.
Exactly. A very real, dedicated person.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit now. Consider the bigger picture, the cosmic forces maybe at play in spreading or suppressing spiritual wisdom. This isn't just about individuals, is it? There's a larger dynamic.
Right. This is a really crucial layer to understanding the whole narrative. What's striking is this idea of the cyclical nature of Dhammakaya knowledge. It tends to disappear, the sources say, roughly 500 years after a Buddha passes away in each era, only to be rediscovered and revived later. And that mission often seems to fall to Luang Pu, or rather, the group of merit he leads across lifetimes.
And in this sort of cosmic drama, there's an opposing force, Mara.
Yes, Mara, representing these obstructive, evil forces, actively trying to erase the term Dhammakaya, trying to steer humanity away from genuine spiritual teachings.
How does Mara do that? What are the strategies?
One key strategy mentioned is undermining Karava 6. These are the 6 core reverences for the Buddha, the Dhamma, his teachings, the Sangha, the monastic community, education, meditation, and heedfulness or diligence. By eroding respect for these fundamentals, Mara weakens humanity's spiritual foundation, makes it harder for deep truths like Dhammakaya to take root and flourish.
It makes you wonder, if this knowledge disappears and reappears in cycles, was there ever a time it just spread easily, without all this struggle?
Yes, the sources actually talk about such a time. In a past Buddha era, Dhammakaya apparently spread effortlessly worldwide, and the reason? There was a highly virtuous Chakravartin, a kind of ideal world-ruling emperor. He unified the world based on righteousness and peace. That created the perfect environment for spiritual teachings to just blossom without obstruction. Global unity and peace were key.
So peace and unity are crucial. What does that imply about a period like World War II, which we talked about earlier in relation to Luang Pu?
Well, from this particular perspective, World War II, this time of immense global suffering and division, was, according to these sources, orchestrated by Mara.
Really? Orchestrated?
The aim being to prevent people from making merit, from progressing spiritually, and to directly undermine Dhammakaya by disrupting the very conditions needed for it to grow. It shows how deeply these spiritual and worldly events are seen as interconnected.
So while the physical war was raging, Luang Pu was essentially fighting a spiritual battle on a different level.
Exactly that. He used his Dhammakaya knowledge, his insight, to clear the subtle plans of Mara, addressing the root causes of the war on a deeper spiritual plane, working to restore peace, to create the conditions for Dhamma to flourish again.
It's like dealing with the cause, so the effect can cease.
Precisely. And when we think about Luang Pu's monumental merit, those 5 life-sized golden statues made in his honor, they're seen as just a tiny fraction of the true merit he gained. Merit earned by sacrificing his life, really, to restore the Buddha's profound teachings on Nibbana, ultimate liberation, for everyone's benefit. His true worth is considered immeasurable.
This brings us to a really profound connection for you listening now. The idea is that those who offer tributes like that with sincere faith, they actually establish a deep spiritual connection, a connection with Luang Pu, with the Dhammakaya knowledge itself that spans across lifetimes, becoming part of this ongoing grand cosmic story. What an incredible journey we've been on through these tales of spiritual power, sheer resilience, and those deep, often unseen karmic threads that shape things. We've seen how profound truths can be lost, rediscovered, and then fiercely protected and spread against really formidable opposition.
Yeah, the core lesson, I think, is the immense power you find in sustained spiritual practice, in boundless compassion, and just the enduring truth of cause and effect in everything we do. It's a vivid reminder, isn't it, that every action, every intention has consequences, sometimes reaching across lifetimes, impacting the world around us.
So knowing that, knowing about these profound connections spanning lifetimes, it leads to a question for you. What two things will you commit to accumulating? And what ultimate goal will you set for your own spiritual journey?
The wisdom from that Dhamma maxim we mentioned offers some guidance here. The two things to accumulate are merit and wholesome deeds. Good actions, basically, the thing to seek. The inner triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, but realized within yourself through meditation. The goal of life is seen as the ultimate Dhamma, Nibbana. And for many on this path, the resting place along the way, a kind of beneficial stopover, is Dusat Buddhi, that special meritorious realm said to be for bodhisattvas, those dedicated to achieving Buddhahood for the benefit of all.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the enduring power of Dhammakaya knowledge.